Welcome back to another episode of Wedding Wednesdays. If you're new here, I'm Katherine, and it's so nice to meet you. This is actually the last episode in my Wedding Wednesday series. I'm a little bit sad, but I'm also really excited that I was able to share all of this information with you guys about how to have a vegan wedding, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it. Today, I want to talk about how we planned our honeymoon and what I would change about our wedding if I could go back and do it all over again. So let's start off by what I would change about the wedding. There really are not that many things, as I think the wedding went beautifully, but let's just start with these. The first one would be to allow kids at the wedding. So we put it on our invitations that we didn't want children there, and this was before we had kids of our own. In hindsight, this is the only thing that I regret doing. The second thing that I would change would probably be to have our wedding photos, like our couple photos, taken on a different day. And the reason for this was we spent a lot of time, because we didn't do a first look. It was really important to us to have like the first time he saw me in my dress be when I walked down the aisle, and that was something that I didn't want to change simply because we wanted to do pictures before the ceremony. So we did as many photos as we could before the ceremony took place, but our couple photos and family photos took place after the ceremony during cocktail hour, and then we even took more photos, just the two of us, a little bit later around sunset time. In hindsight, it would have been really nice to spend more of that time with our guests versus being out like we were taking photos with our photographer and our videographer. And the photos turned out gorgeous. Like, that's not why I would want to change it. I just, in hindsight, would have rather spent that time with our guests than spending that time taking photos. So we could have just put a little bit more time into taking the photos a different day, just a separate day for just the couple photos, getting ready again and taking photos just the two of us would have been like a fun experience, although it would have been probably an extra expense, but I think it would have been worth it. So those are the two things that I would change if we could go back and do it again. Let's get into the fun part, planning the honeymoon. My husband and I were actually not going to take a honeymoon, and around this time 3 years ago, we changed our minds and decided that we wanted to go on a vacation after our wedding, just to relax from all of the wedding planning, and we thought it would just be a really great time to get away. So I would highly recommend taking a honeymoon if your budget allows. The honeymoon planning was a lot less stressful for us, so definitely have fun with it. What we did was take a day, well, I think like an afternoon and evening, we just, and this was before kids, so it was a lot easier to do, we drove out to the beautiful Oregon wine country, and we stopped at a winery. We bought a bottle of wine, sat out on there. It was still, I guess if it was around this time, it was like late winter, early spring. We sat out on their patio that was heated. It was a gorgeous, clear day, and we shared a bottle of wine and just brainstormed what we wanted to do, looked at prices of different places, and that was probably the most relaxing way to plan a honeymoon ever. Like, I highly recommend doing that. Grab a bottle of wine, grab like some tea, whatever your drink of choice is, sit down with your partner and just plan and brainstorm what would be a good fit for you guys. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we did, we chose to go to Disneyland and to Maui. So we drove down to save money from Oregon to Southern California to save money. We drove to San Francisco, flew out from San Francisco, went to Maui, came back, drove from San Francisco down to Anaheim. We actually stayed at a hotel like kitty corner to Disneyland, so we had to walk, which saves a lot of money versus staying at a hotel, like a Disney resort hotel. And in hindsight, we would have swapped the two and done Disneyland first and then go to Maui, because Maui was like super relaxing and we were just like refreshed. And then we came back, drove down to Disneyland, and spent 3 days at Disneyland, and were exhausted by the end of it. So in hindsight, it would have been fantastic to have the Maui relaxing vacation after the Disneyland portion of it. So if we could flip-flop that, that would have been great. I've been giving some money-saving tips in many of these videos, and that definitely applies to the honeymoon as well. We stayed, like I said, at the hotel across the street from Disneyland, and that saved money. We also stayed at a condo in Maui, and that saved money because the resorts are very expensive. So we could stay for a longer period of time with our budget in a condo versus just like a couple of days in a resort. So that definitely saved us some money as well. I think we used VRBO to find the condo, so I will link that down below. Any information that we used to plan our honeymoon, I will link down below as well. If you have any questions, just leave them down below in the comment section. I will be replying to those. I hope you found these videos helpful. It has been so much fun to sit down and talk to you about how we had our vegan weddings. I hope that you have watched all of the videos in the series, and if you haven't, I will have them linked down below so that you can go back and watch them after this one. And before you leave, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I would love to have you. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!